Let's find out, though, shall we? Jeffrey, it says we're live, my friend. Welcome back, everybody, to the Total.
Oh, shit.
It's been a while. It's been a minute. And we are, in fact, live. And, yeah, what have you been up to, my friend?
Oh, man, I've been busy as all hell out in BC.
Mm-hmm.
You've been busy selling homes.
Okay, that's it. Just been busy in BC.
Yeah, it's been, it's actually, I think BC is the old Alberta. I don't think it is. It just is.
It just is. Well, we got some sponsors to thank before we get into that, my friend. So let's talk a little bit about
out in BC.
Let's talk a little bit about them. Who do we have on the? Oh my God, we got guys in the chat already.
Yeah, just let me get this chat loaded before we go. Can I do that?
You can do that. I'll start talking about sponsors and doing all the stuff I got to do.
Right on, brother.
So, as usual, Western Survivor Beef Jerky has always been a big supporter of the show. The best beef jerky on the planet. We got Misfit Powerlifting and Strength, big supporter of the TAL. Inside Arms. Jeff, give me a little splurb on Inside Arms while you're fiddling around there.
Inside Arms. Inside Arms is one of the, I guess, largest and one of the most premier custom gun manufacturers here in Canada. If you're into shooting, long-range shooting, custom-made firearms, check out Harley Green on Facebook or Insight Arms on Facebook, or insightarms.ca.
All right.
I cannot get the chat to load. What am I doing wrong, Ryan?
I don't know what you're doing wrong, man. Computer illiteracy. It's working just fine for me. And there's already people commenting in the chat. Uncle John is in there first, he says. Billy Berg actually made a comment before him, though, so I think Billy is first. And, of course, we can't forget Israel Arm Wrestling Club. And I want to thank Supplement King Porge LePerry, which is always on the display behind me. Desperation Pinocchio is in here. Good morning, gents, he says. And we got to shout out our Patreon members. Alpha members, Ready Go Solutions, Jeff Frank, Bruce Williz, Bryan Koerner, Jon Umpherville, Gary Roberts, Joe Fox, Mike Dumas, Kenny Weaver, and Dallas Quarles. And I haven't talked about it for a little while, but we have that contest still running where we are going to give away a table, and I think we're sitting around 25 now. So we're a quarter of the way there. When we get to 100 members between Patreon and YouTube, we're going to give that away. So, yeah, we've got around 14 or 15 Patreon in total, and we got a bunch of YouTube members signed up under the tip jar level. Jeff,
I can't. Why won't my chat load?
I don't know, buddy. Your phone is not doing well. You're just going to have to rely on me to read you the good comments in the chat.
No, you skip all the good ones.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, while you guys are doing your thing,
fuck me.
War Drake is in the house. Yeah.
Well,
Manitobans can have no one over for visits, but we can get together on restaurant patios.
COVID restrictions are getting worse and worse and worse, aren't they?
Yeah, they're starting to infringe on our freedoms.
I don't think they're starting to. They're well on their way.
Anyway, let's not go down that path. We have an agenda. Where do you want to start, my friend?
Oh, man, there's so much to talk about. It's funny how over time, how things progress and things change, and I don't know if we would have talked about these two big matches coming up. I had my opinion months ago, and I think I've almost flipped it.
We jumped the gun, but you've got some inside information. That's the difference.
One thing I wanted to talk about is making predictions and why do people get so fucking ass hurt to get slighted when somebody makes a prediction? Did you see that?
It's bad for business.
Well, it's not bad for business. It's part of the game, and it's part of sports everywhere. And people base their opinion on it's not. I seen Michael Todd post a video the other day. Did you see Levon when he predicted Devin to win?
Yeah.
And of course, right away he's got to jump on YouTube and it says, "Come on, Levon, I thought we were friends." And I think he was generally offended by that. And I'm thinking, man, you can't be slighted by the fact that when somebody makes a prediction, it's simply a prediction based on, I don't know, your current statistical or where you're at, your last performance. It's got nothing to do. I know of a few guys have done that when I made predictions. And that's why I don't do it anymore. It's just how easily offended people are. I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing. And I was surprised he made an actual video about that. I mean, LeVon thinks Devin's going to win. He thinks he's going to win. It doesn't mean he's not your friend, Mr. Todd.
Well, I don't think Michael was genuinely. I think he was generating content.
I think a lot of guys are generating content because they do get offended, and I think it's easy content. And actually, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of these rebuttals. Every time somebody says something, we got to jump on YouTube and make a video out of it. I don't like that content. I think it's terrible.
Well, when you're putting out a video every day, sometimes it's tough to come up with stuff to say.
There's all kinds of matches in the United States going on right now that you can talk about, and people can break down matches of all kinds of content for days.
Nobody gives a shit what local guys in a super match.
That's really unfortunate if that's the case.
It is unfortunate, but you know what? If you look at how many arm wrestlers do people actually want to see? Because
that's a problem with our sport that we should be making content around.
Exactly. But if you look at the super match content that's been coming out, nobody is watching. Put it to you this way. There's a ton of guys that watch the UFC, but never watch the lower level stuff. Ever.
Oh, I completely disagree.
You can disagree all you want. The ratings aren't there for the lower.
The ratings are there because one certain guy promoted the sport in a way to bring up the lower end guys and actually make it mainstream. And I think that was built on a foundation around not so much your superstars. The Ultimate Fighter was one of the biggest series out there, and virtually nobody.
Because it built these nobodies into characters.
Yeah, it does eventually, but it starts somewhere. It starts with nobodies. I think Dana White took the right approach when he promotes things. He promotes these guys, and he does it in a fashion that I think arm wrestling really, really lacks. Well, because it doesn't get talked about.
Williams brought up Greg Gray and Matt Craig. Okay,
there's a great example.
Those two guys, if you were to just say, "Hey, Greg Gray and Matt Craig," and throw them in a match, and there was none of this stuff leading up to it. No offense to these guys, but would we really care that much?
If we don't, we shouldn't, because they're really good arm wrestlers.
You're talking philosophical differences here.
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm just talking bad promotion on our sport in general.
Just because he's arm wrestling.
How many good matches are going on last weekend that nobody even talked about?
Give me a reason to talk about it.
That's what we should be doing as promoters. That's how we build our sport. It's unfortunate when you see good guys. I'll talk like Dalton Duncan.
Understand.
We can't build.
There needs to be silence until they arm wrestle. They have
We can't build content around the same three people every fucking day. It's ridiculous.
So whose fault is it? Is it the spectator's fault for not being interested? Or is it the competitor's fault for not creating that interest?
We have to create the interest. We can't create interest around the same three guys. It makes our sport stagnant.
Case in point, if you look at the analytics and the videos, I put out the UAWL videos. Local guys.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with it.
People watched it, but they're not on the same level as if I was talking about Michael Todd and Devin, if I'm talking about Devin Larratt eating a pancake, it gets more views than
100%.
Guys at high level within a province.
I'm not disagreeing with the stats on it. I'm saying that's the problem. And I wish when we're doing YouTube content, we would talk more and promote more and gain interest more in the people that don't get talked about. I think it's extremely important for the growth of our sport. You can't argue that.
Jody Williams says, once upon a time, these superstars were nobodies. And I agree with you. And here's the deal. When I have online my very first tournament I ever pulled in, it's on my YouTube channel, 1997, in a nightclub in Portersville Prairie. It's on YouTube. It only started getting views when I started to become known as an arm wrestler. People will go back and dig up that old content, but I mean, there's thousands and thousands of arm wrestlers out there. It's not all going to get views, and it doesn't.
I'm not disagreeing with that. There's what I'm saying though is we have to have a platform to launch people into that stardom. Not everybody like Devin Larratt has a personality to get on YouTube and self-promote. It's important for our sport that we talk about these guys. That's what we should be doing. We should be promoting these guys.
They need to do their part.
Pardon me?
Greg Gray and Matt Craig, they're doing their part.
Oh, yeah, those two are doing great.
It might come from genuine hatred of each other.
I do believe that was
I'm
genuine
still
hatred.
interested, and I'm going to watch.
Yeah, and good on them because they have done a really good job promoting. And I do believe that was genuine hatred. But I do believe that people, when we're generating content, that we should be talking. We can't. Listen. I understand that. I mean, you're going to grab the lowest hanging fruit, and that's what, because it's easy content, it's easy views. But I don't believe it's good promotion. If you're generally interested and invested in growing the sport, I believe that I mean, for me, I would like to grow it in a sense where I'd like to talk about the Dalton Duncans and the Hunter Knopfs and all these other guys that I just think are going to be studs one day, and it just, these great matches go down and they're swept aside and nobody talks about them, and it's unfortunate because I don't think
the Manitoba Moose might have taken it to 3 overtimes, but I don't give a shit because they're not the Jets. Well, Mark B said you guys are comparing community hockey to the NHL. Exactly. Sometimes it's just not interesting because
bullshit, man. Look at fucking college football in the States.
You're almost comparing college to high school because college is arguably as popular as the NFL.
It doesn't matter. Our sport will not grow if we do not promote it uniformly. Like, we can't. How in the fuck can you sit and say that we're going to grow our sport by talking about the same 3 guys because they're the only ones anybody cares about? If we only care about 3 guys, that speaks about our fucking sport.
We're on different pages here. I'm not saying we shouldn't care. I'm just saying not everything gets talked about, because give me a reason to give a shit about every single arm wrestling match in the United States or Canada.
Well, I think now you're over dramatizing what I'm saying. I didn't say we need to talk about every single one. I'm just saying there's many, many, many good matches that go down that we should discuss them. We should talk, and not just us, anybody. I mean, Jody Williams does a good job. I know he had some guests come on that, as a guy that's generally vested in arm wrestling and the interest of it, I like listening to his podcast because it's not the same old shit every time. Ryan Bowen is, I don't find it because it's just no. I'm going to speak. Huh? No, we should be able. It's the same thing that goes down when we're making predictions on matches. I mean, we are in a sport where we should be able to freely analyze and freely throw analytics out there without people getting offended. I mean, Ryan Bowen does great self-promotion, but I don't really find the same old, okay, this guy said something, I'm going to jump on fucking YouTube and talk about what he said. I'm going to jump on, he talks what he said. And it's just a back and forth. I find that content not overly interesting. I like it. I like Jody Williams, Jonathan Thompson. These guys all, talk about a different rate. Even we do, I just think it needs to happen more. Anyways, that was 15 minutes on that.
We're getting some interesting about. You still can't see the chat, can you?
No, it's pissing me off.
Oh, you should piss you off because I'm only giving you snippets of it.
Read away.
Same reason you don't talk about B-list actors. Nobody cares. Well, until they do. So you get a guy that's coming up, nobody notices him, and then all of a sudden he does something incredible. Then we notice. Then we start.
Everybody can have their opinion. I disagree with it. I don't care if you just hate B-list actors. My point is I genuinely believe that we should talk more about, and if you don't care about the Dalton Duncans and you don't care about those guys, I think that's a fucking pathetic attitude. And
Dalton Duncan is different.
It doesn't matter. These are all things that I'm talking about. I mean, you can't say, oh, it's different. These are the guys that don't get the spotlight. Is exactly what I'm talking about.
Because when I hear that name, I'm interested.
Well, that's good. Then I feel I did my part with promoting that guy, because I find that guy extremely interesting. But a lot of guys in Canada don't know who Dalton Duncan is.
Yeah, and there's a ton of American guys that don't know who 90% of the Canadian.
That's a problem.
Right. But we need to start doing a little bit better with promotion. And I think
that's what I'm saying.
COVID has done nothing else. It has forced us into more actively promoting things on YouTube and other forms of social media. ArmBet, Devin's app there is something incredible that's come around. And then you got the traditionalists, but I mean, there should never be a tournament where we don't know what the hell happened for days and days after.
Yep.
You know, that should be front and center. Somebody should be there should be live streaming or reporting, or, you know, anyway. Billy Berg with a $2 super chat, the first super chat of the show today.
Mr. Billy
says, because you guys are awesome. That's what he says. $2.
Thanks, Billy.
We appreciate you, Billy.
Well, I keep reading away.
The internet doesn't care about your opinion. Anyway, let's talk about the big matches coming up, because we got a few. And Jody was talking about Chance Shaw versus Ron Bath. That's going to be the one talked about. What was the date on that, Jody, if you could put that in there? But I mean, we're 1 month away, less than a month away from Devin Larratt and Michael Todd.
Yeah, man. And
you were going to tell me something. You hinted at talking about who you think is the next guy to beat Michael Todd. We'll talk about that after we get through these.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. Yeah. So I don't know. I know it's funny how I see these guys preparing for their matches, what Devin's doing and what Michael Todd's doing. And I look back, I think a month ago, I really didn't give Devin chance based on his current situation, much of a chance. But I think I'm starting to flip just from what I'm hearing and how he's actually feeling, people that I trust, and what he's doing, and that he's relatively 100% healthy. I look at, what
he's doing.
Just with his diet and stuff like that, and his workout regimen. And it's I think if you look at Matt Mask and Devin, so I think arguably you could say that Hermes and Michael Todd, both those guys have a far greater superior training core when it comes to training partners. So if you look at Michael Todd, who do y'all have there? Paul Lynn, Todd Hutchings, Corey West. I think Derek Smith was there. Who else did he have?
I don't know, but he's got a great crew. He's had a great crew.
And
Michael, he trains hard, man. He looks like he's in incredible shape.
He certainly does.
And you would never guess that he's the older man of the two.
Yes. But I don't like how he utilizes that group of people. I believe that based with who they have around them, I don't think anybody uses their training partners more to their advantage than Devin and Matt. And if you ever watch,
explain that from Michael's perspective.
When you see him, there could be a whole lot of. I think there's no question how serious Michael's taking his training. I mean, look at the fucking guy. But when I'm actually looking at just training partners, I think I get I get the feeling when I watch Michael train with guys, he's more trying to think how to say it. Get out of there. More inclined to show that he can beat you than use him as a training tool. I see that a lot in his videos. Like he wants to show that he can still, when I see Devin and Matt, they're using those people around them a lot more advantageous to actually training. I don't see that with Michael Todd, and I don't mean like it's really good when you see Todd Hutchinson showing them how to, with side pressure and kind of using all. But when you're actually having table time, I don't think anybody uses the guys around them better than Matt or Devin. I think you're a good example too. When I watch your training videos, you're a good example too when you train your guys.
Well, I get pinned a lot in practice.
Yeah,
but there's it's contrasting styles. It's interesting because Devin, or Michael rather, seems to be a primarily defensive puller when he's in a big match, but he trains with a lot more offense.
Yeah,
maybe on the practice table, but we only see a small snippet of that.
That's right. It's true. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a tough one to call. I'm still going to lean towards, I don't know, because the great question is, how strong is Devin really at that weight? And what path is there to victory for him?
Mm-hmm.
He might go like, I don't think I'd put money on it. I wouldn't. Well, I might just for fun, but
oh man,
tell you what, you're picking Devin.
I hate making predictions, but if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have said Devin doesn't have a chance. I really would have said that. You're asking me today, I'm going to pick Devin. I think Devin's going to win this.
I got $20 on Michael just to make it interesting. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, $20. Let's do it. I have a feeling. I don't know. It's hard when you don't see it every day. I guess maybe I'm taking my my thought process from what spending some time with Matt Mask over the last couple of days. It's kind of swayed I haven't had time to sit with Matt and really talk to him about his trip down there and how Devin was feeling. And so, and I got to do that over the last 2 days. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to lean and say, I think Devin might come out and win this.
You think so? Do you?
Hey, that's why we do the matches, because we ultimately do not know, but I'm going to lean slightly towards, and I'm going to favor Devin to pull that out. I think it's going to be, I guess from what I was saying 2 months ago, when I really felt that this wasn't even going to be close, I'll say this: I think this will be an absolute war, and I do think it'll be a 3-2 victory one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, that is interesting. I think it's going to be the other way, but
yeah,
I mean, nobody should. That's what makes a good match, is there's 50-50 split on who people think are going to win.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but back to the training, I just, from what I see, when I don't know, maybe it's a Canadian thing. I don't know what it is, but it seems like our top Canadians, you, Matt, Devin, the way you guys utilize your training partners with you're constantly fighting out of bad positions. You're constantly putting yourself in the worst position you can and really using that tool for better training. I don't see that a lot in the United States. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just, from what the videos I see, especially with Michael Todd, I don't see him using those, I don't know, those training partners as effectively as I think Matt and Devin does, or yourself.
Well,
could be totally wrong. That's just how I'm seeing it.
Different styles, but I think Michael's training lends itself to his style of arm wrestling, which, has an element of the desperation move in there.
Yeah, there's one thing with Michael Todd that I think he's added to his arsenal is that almost that Jerry Catterett style inside hook press, which I wonder if he'll shock Devin with that right off the start, and not go into the King's move, but throw that inside hook press in.
So I had somebody ask to join us quickly because they have some information they want to share. they have an opinion that they really want to share on here. So let's just wait and see who our special guest is. But in the meantime, Stan Scott, $10 super chat. Personality sells matches. Recently, I had a super match that generated local interest, not because of my talent, but due to the fun trash talk. Better arm wrestlers should do this. I agree. Anyway, should we move on from this, or should we let our special guest weigh in before we go any further?
Oh, we better let him in here. Is he coming?
He's coming. He's being added to the room right now.
Jody Williams.
You ruined the surprise.
I didn't. I just took a guess.
You saw the chat. You would see that he said, "I want to come on live and talk."
I can't see the chat at all. It's frustrating.
Enigma of calm. Todd gonna pin Devin with a flop press. Devin gonna pin Todd with a hand control. All right.
Do you know how to bring up this chat at all, or am I just?
Well, what I do is I have the window for the Zoom meeting on, shrunk down with the YouTube channel with this video playing behind it, and I've got the Zoom meeting the exact same size as the YouTube window, so I can see the chat scrolling by. But that's really advanced stuff.
Yeah, really advanced stuff for it. Oh shit! I don't know what's going on here. That's too bad. What's he doing? Did he fall asleep?
He's having some difficulty getting the stuff working. But anyway, there's the official prediction. Now we can come back to it. But on the same card,
there he is. There's my man.
Can y'all hear me?
You're loud and clear, buddy.
Oh my Lord! So where do you want me to chime in at?
Let's just say, let's just stop right there and let's give everybody a big shout out to the man, Jody Williams.
How y'all doing out there?
Good.
Good, buddy.
Yeah, weigh in, Jody.
You know what? To go back and answer you guys' questions, I'm about everyone's talking about Michael Todd and Devin Larratt, and the reason why I kind of shied away from that because the whole world is talking about it, and I didn't want to be that guy that's constantly repeating everything everybody else has said.
Yeah.
I made my prediction when I was in Texas when we did that Ruler of the Nation Gary Roberts deal, and Rebecca Todd was interviewing random people. Who do you think is going to win? I gave her my prediction. I kind of left it at that because everybody's going to be talking about it. And I don't know, by me adding my 2 cents is going to make any difference because I'm pretty sure 40 other people probably said the same exact thing, which is why I kind of shied away from that, honestly.
All right.
Fair enough.
So what is your prediction?
Michael Todd.
Okay.
And due to the fact that I knew he took it seriously when he started inviting people, like there was one video he had Don Underwood, Corey West, Todd Hutchings. I'm thinking, okay, that's how you know he's taking this match more serious than any match he had in his entire career.
Did you hear what I said about that, Jody, by chance?
What did you say?
So we were talking about that, and I completely agree. I think Michael Todd has established a very good core group of training partners. But what I was saying to Ryan is I don't. However, I feel that's great to surround yourself, and I think that's key. And I think you could look at that as maybe he has the advantage, but I don't necessarily agree because I don't think anybody utilizes the core group around them better than Devin and Matt. I think for what they have, they might not have the big names in the superstar status, right? But I don't see Michael Todd using those core group of guys effectively as how Devin and Matt use their guys. Maybe you can give me some insight on this. I see Michael Todd training with these guys, but it seems to me like he's there to show that he can beat these guys and maybe not using them as an effective training tool. I could be totally wrong. That's just kind of the way I see it, where Matt and Devin and even Ryan are constantly just letting these guys get everything in hand control. They're constantly fighting out of bad positions for hours on end. I see it as the Canadians just maybe using the tools around them a little bit more advantageous than maybe Michael Todd's using those guys. And maybe let me know what you think there, Jody.
My honest opinion, you got to remember that last time Devin and Michael pulled, Michael won. Even, at the wall event, doesn't matter if Devin came and ambushed Michael Todd, which made him super duper uncomfortable. If we all saw that video, Michael still came out on top. So there's that mental aspect that, Michael's still up here and Devin's about right there. And now that, when you have people like Jon Umpherville, explosive, there's that explosive guy. Devin's not that guy, but just in case, because we don't know what Devin's doing. Corey Rest, raw power, Devin, now he's eating French toast or whatever the fuck he's eating nowadays. He's going to add that power, right? Then you add Toddzilla. And now, okay, if he's going to add side pressure, that kind of stuff, he's had different aspects, pullers with different aspect styles. And now you mix it into what Michael's doing, it could come out differently. And if we all noticed, the last time Michael pulled an actual meaningful match against Jerry Carteret, he wasn't very defensive. He was actually offensive, so there's something to say about that. Meanwhile, what Devin's doing, he's going about a different way. I'm going to get Matt Mask, and we're going to train smart. From a technical standpoint, they're going to go, you know what? We're going to do things a little different, Yeah, he didn't grab, Ryan Espy. No, he didn't grab, Mike Gould. I'm getting Matt Mask. He's going to come over. I don't care what the borders say. We're going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to do things our way. So I like what Devin's doing because he's not trying to match what Michael's doing. He's doing things his own way, which, that may help him out. But then again, Devin's always that smart guy where he only gives you just a little bit. He doesn't give you everything. He gives you a little bit and keeps people guessing. He's got me guessing, but I'm still picking Michael, but he leaves everything to the imagination,
It's some great insight, Jody. And it kind of alludes to what I was saying. Like, I don't know if I was really interested in this match 2 months ago. I'm honestly sitting here now saying, I can't wait.
Right.
The difference, I think, is, yes, Matt went over and trained with Devin. Trained with him for what, a week?
Yeah.
Michael has had a constant flow of guys coming through there, training with him, getting him ready. And yes, Devin has guys around him. He went and trained with Mike Gould a little bit. He had like BLM and all those guys. But, I don't know. I don't know about those. The level, I think, with Michael's group
is, there's no question.
Yeah, and more consistently.
Yeah, I think you're dead on, Ryan, when you say the level of guys that Michael Todd has. I don't think either Matt or Devin even came close. I was just questioning the fact that maybe you don't need top level talent to get the most out of your training. I know what Jody's saying, and it's when you surround yourself with that kind of talent. Yeah, 100%. Did Michael Todd use that to his best advantage? I don't know if he did. Maybe he did, and I could be dead wrong.
Iron brother, and you don't bring in bums to spar with when you're going for the world title.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, did he use him as effectively that he could have? And I didn't see that as much as I see it with Matt and Devin with the guys that they have. But go ahead, Jody.
Two things. By Michael bringing so many people in, that could also be a bad thing, because then you get too many people in your ear, and then all of a sudden you lose track of what your actual goal was.
That's a good point.
If you bring a certain amount of group in and stay with those guys, perfect. But when you start bringing in people like, and no disrespect to these other guys, like Derek
it's
Smith,
it's not
disrespect, but you get too many, chefs in the kitchen, there's going to be chaos, However, me and, Ryan will understand where I'm coming from when I say this, though. I grew up watching professional wrestling. There's a storyline. I like to read it between the lines. Don't think that just because Matt was helping train Devin and that was on Devin's video on YouTube doesn't mean that Devin's teaching Matt about Gasparini. You know what I mean? I'm reading between that. Just because it wasn't on YouTube and it's not on Matt's channel doesn't mean it's in reverse mode. All right, let's go ahead and get you ready for Gasparini. I guarantee you some of those conversations took place.
Hey, we got a $5 super chat came in from NBK Media. He says, can't wait to bring my team up to train with you, Ryan, or invite you guys to come pull at the NBK event, NBK Summer Smash 3, July 17th, 2021. That's my birthday, July 17th. I would love to come down to that event, but we'll see if we can travel. That's the only holdback.
Yeah, it's not very, I'm really excited about being in BC now. And when borders open, having, Jody Williams, you're like, I think you're like a 6-hour drive from me now, like nice and close. Yeah. Jacob Abbott's like 45 minutes from me. I can't wait for the borders to open because I'm going to be spending a lot of time down there with you guys.
Yes.
Here's a question for you guys. I like this question. YouTube Connolly Family says, do you think it's good that Matt and Hermes are not on the Dubai card because now we have another super match to look forward to?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I think when you kept that one separate, it gives you something else to talk about. Because like I said, once you have all this big mega match, and next thing you know, when it comes and goes, then all of a sudden, hey, what are we going to talk about next? Oh, and by the way, June 5th is the Chance Shaw versus Ron Bath match. So
we have one right in the middle.
Yeah, once this comes and goes, then bam, now all the attention is going to go to that, because when you have a huge match between two guys, once it comes and goes, because us wrestling fans are like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? So now, Matt Mask, Gasparini, okay, that's a separate one. Ron Bath, Chance Shaw is a separate one. I think Schoolboy is going to be on the card with Schoolboy and Larry Williz is going to be on the Michael Todd card, correct?
Yeah, and we got to talk about that match. So that's those two matches, and I've already bought the pay-per-view.
Me too.
So, Jeff, have you bought the pay-per-view?
I have not. Sorry,
what
guys.
The hell are you waiting for?
June 12 or May 28th.
You're gonna have to pay an extra $1 if you wait that long.
Oh my.
Yeah. Anyway, those two matches sell the pay-per-view. In my opinion, adding another marquee match that's a high-cost match like Hermes and Matt to that card adds nothing as far as pay-per-view buys go. It's smart to have it on another show.
Yeah. I'm hoping that once this May 28th comes and goes, there'll be no more Devin versus Michael Todd. Because, and this is one of my gripes with WAL, how many times can you see these guys go at it to where it starts to get stale? You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I was saying.
After a while, it's going to be the same recycled guys, and then you're going to lose some of its luster.
100%.
You guys are absolutely correct, and I agree with you on that. This should be the final, and the worst possible thing that could happen with this match is we get a controversy like Michael versus Jerry.
Yeah.
I want to see a definitive win and then move on. Both guys go do something else.
Don't use a WL strap. End of story. But I will say this. There was a clip that Devin put out, might have been a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and they were talking about the rules. And I wasn't really quite sure what the hell they were talking about, because there's no way you can mix a WAF WF set of rules with WAL. You can't do that, because
there's one way. Arm Wars rules, where there's a running foul.
Running foul, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but, just don't do the 7x9 pad. Don't do that. Just 7x7, right? And just be done with it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah.
I love it. So let's talk Larry Wheels and Schoolboy, because, I mean, that's on the card. That's a big addition. I mean, Schoolboy's over in Russia doing God knows what, competing apparently. Got the Russian nationals.
Here's my thing, why I think this might be just, and before I even get to this, I'm going to say this before I get just annihilated on this show for my comments. Since Larry Wheels got into our sport, he's made some gains, but he hasn't pulled a fucking tournament yet, a meaningful one. And I think people are, Michael Todd came and visited him. Devin went to go visit him. Derek Smith went to go visit him. I get all that. And he's probably gotten some knowledge here, there. But at the end of the day, what have you done on the table? That's what it comes down to. In tournament, not practice pulling, because don't get me started on the practice pulling and tournament pulling, but Larry has not had a meaningful tournament yet. So we don't know what he's going to bring to the table. Yeah, that guy can bench press the world and, deadlift the universe, but what has he done on the table? Meanwhile, what Schoolboy's doing now is that he's going to Russia compete now, because before, all he did was just put out videos of him working out, doing this, and he had matches that weren't meaningful. Now that he has that in his back pocket, which makes him the favorite over Larry in my book as we speak.
I couldn't agree more, Jody. You can't take away the effectiveness and of what table time does for you in an actual tournament setting. And I guess it kind of frustrates me with people in general that don't want to pull tournaments with the fear of losing and not grabbing and getting into that ready goes and learning. You got to push that fear of losing aside. It comes with the sport. We don't this sport, you're going to lose. So get used to it and get on that table, get into a tournament setting and learn that. I completely agree. And with Schoolboy in Russia, and he's doing very well. He's and Russia's a phenomenal country. So if you're coming away with victories there, you know you're some serious talent. I don't think this match will be close. I think Schoolboy will. I think it's 3-0, and he's just for exactly with what you're saying.
I
disagree.
I don't know if I can. I'm trying to disagree. I'm really trying. And the only reason I try to disagree is because I think that Larry is the kind of guy that throughout his life has had major hurdles to overcome and has been so dedicated to goals that I would have a hard time betting against him. Now, I know there's something lacking as far as experience. However, I would not be shocked if Larry made this a fight.
That's reasonable. You know, that is, because there's something to be said for strength, right? In our sport, you know, I think RVJ had a video out and he goes, technique over strength, right? Which is better? You know, some lean on this side, some lean on that side. Although the one comment that stands tall as far as that was that you need the strength in order to get to those techniques. You know, if you don't have the strength, you can't do that technique. Larry has all the strength of the world in this. However, again, you know, if there there's a video when Larry used to start like this. Now he's more close now because he's gotten that repetition from the guys that's been visiting him, which is good. But again, we're talking guys he's been practicing with that don't fucking know the sport anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like in Schoolboy's been, you know, he's if Nemiroff was right now, I'd say Schoolboy would be there.
Yeah.
He'd be there competing, you know.
He would.
I see so much advantage towards Schoolboy, and I think this match will be over just in the setup. I think with Schoolboy's experience with being over in Russia, I think this match is over even just from the setup alone. I think he's just so much more experience there. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a great battle, but I think this one will be a 3-0.
You're probably right. You're probably right. However, everyone loves an underdog story, man.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Matt Mask and oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, do you want to throw Ron Bath and Chance Shaw in the middle of that because they're actually happening before?
Yeah, that's a great matchup. Who's hosting that match?
I'm not sure off the top of my head who's hosting. I think it's going to be in Georgia. Actually, I mean, Chance is going to Ron Bath's neck of the woods. He's going to. He says he was on Jonathan Uncle John's show the other day, and he basically said, "I'm going to go beat Ron 3-0." I'm like, Chance is one of those smart pullers where they pulled at the Net Fit in Kansas City, and both guys were there. Chance was just going to go there and just be a commentator on the mic, all that kind of stuff. Ron had a match. He had that match with Jordan Seal, and somehow Chance got coached into pulling the tournament, so they were in the same weight class. So Chance, knowing that he had this match coming up, I'm just going to lay down to Ron and not show him what I know. That way it doesn't give him any kind of, advantage whatsoever. But Ron never gave him the benefit of the doubt anyway. So Chance is one of those guys where if you really watch him, he stays tight no matter what. Winning, losing, stays tight, and he explained how that story started in Uncle John's show. But I was kind of bummed out when I went to Waxahachie, Texas last month, and he was at their RTN. Him and I met, but he was so burnt out, he kind of laid down to me, so I was kind of disappointed. I'm thinking, I took first place in that class, but he just kind of laid down because he was just toast. I'm like, I was looking forward to that. I wanted to see where I was, and that was left-handed, but that's that. But I think because Chance that fit, he did beat Nick Zena, he did beat Jordan Seal. I think he beat Chris Chandler also. There are some big names down there. So the fact that he was able to do that says something that, hey, he's learned from that loss to Ryan Bowen, however long ago that was. But Chance is slowly, quietly going up the ranks.
When Chance was on here, he talked about he didn't take that match seriously and didn't train for it.
Yeah.
And then kind of lost it right after match number 1. I know that will not be the case when it comes to this match.
Mm-hmm.
However, Chance is actually looking pretty thick too. Like he's obviously training and eating well and getting ready. I think he's altered his goal in order to get ready for the match, which is good to see. And I'm hoping it'll be a good match. But
I don't think we'll be disappointed at all. I think that match has the making, and it just will be. This won't be a lopsided win. This will be. Ron Bath just is in wars every time. This is a phenomenal matchup. This won't be boring at all. Very good matchup.
The immortal Ron Bath.
If Chance wants to win, he cannot be in the strap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Mask and Gasparini.
Well, holy smokes, man. So again, and this is the thing where I make predictions. Matt Mask knows who I am, and I don't like to sugarcoat things, and I like to tell it as it is and be completely transparent. And Matt knows. Matt's one of my best friends, and he knows if I make a prediction, it's not because I don't like the guy, it's just because that's how I feel based on for whatever reason. If you would have asked me 3 months ago about this match, I would have told Matt, don't even do it. Don't do it. And the reason being is, knowing Matt's history over the last year and a half, he's taken a complete, and maybe it's a good thing. Maybe he's had everything heal up, but Matt hasn't done nothing over the last year. He was down to 215 pounds at one time, believe it or not. So, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. He was very, very small. I had moved out to BC, so I haven't spent a lot of time with him, but I came home this week and I get to spend a couple of days with him. I cannot begin to express how big and strong that guy is. You can forget about Matt Maskin against Nick Zine and Marcio Barboza. He is light years ahead of that guy, that Matt Mask at that time. I have never seen him. He is nearing 260 pounds, and he is fucking huge. I felt that guy's hand. I couldn't even believe how big and strong that guy is right now. I have completely turned I think Hermes is in for. I still think that this is going to be a good battle, but I take Matt hands down. He is a different character. I'm telling everybody out there in the YouTube world, look out, man, because this Matt Mask is like you have never seen. And even when he was saying that on his YouTube that he's gonna be the biggest version of Matt, I was like, I don't know, man. But forget about it. I'm actually very, very blown away by his progress and where he's at.
Well, the good part is we're going to see for sure if Hermes is right. And when I say that, I mean, was it because of the wall setup? Was it because of the wall rules? Going into this coming match, I thought that wasn't going to be the case. I thought we were going to probably see Hermes win because Matt hasn't been adequately prepared. You telling me that he is adequately prepared changes the narrative completely to now we will truly see if Hermes is correct or not. Did the wall setup make the difference in their first match, or was Matt just that much better? And if Matt crushes him this time, there's no debate whatsoever.
Yeah. Sorry, Jody. Go ahead, Jody.
There are so many points I can hit on with this match alone. Okay, let's start with what Ryan just said. When Hermes was complaining about, it's the wall setup. Is it my imagination or did Hermes not win the first match they had, round 1? There was no complaining then. When he pinned Matt was like, okay, dude, it's the best out of 5. Chill out. Go back to that match. Hermes like, yeah, I got him. There was no bitching and complaining there. So why all of a sudden now it's a problem? I'm sorry, I'm about to get really
let
excited
it out,
here.
man. Let it out.
How the fuck is someone going to complain about, oh, it's the rules? Dude, you beat him with those rules round 1. Nobody talks about that.
Well,
Nobody talks about that. Second of all, I meant wall setup. And for me, when I went to Waxahachie, that was all thumbs down, close your hands, go. Wasn't used to it until about the 3rd match in. Then I got used to it. I don't want to hear no shit about, oh, it's the wall setup. Now, I'm going to kind of go off beat for a second, but it's going to end up coming back to the story. I think originally Matt said, no, he didn't want to at first, correct?
Yeah, he has told me that over the last year. He had no interest in this match.
Cool. I had Wayne Williz on my show probably about 2 weeks ago, and we were talking, and he put it on his own YouTube channel. When Matt was like, no, I don't want to, he was like, hey, I'd love to take a crack at you, and then not Hermes, but one of his comrades or buddies, whatever, in an arrogant way, no, you're not worth his time, basically. I'm thinking, really? Wow. So now it goes back to when Matt finally says, okay, fine, yes. If you can stop Billy Aiken, fine, I'll give you the match. We can go WAF style 7x7. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't think people understand that the styles, as far as like whether it be the pad, us arm wrestlers, we can adjust to it. It's no different than like, okay, hey, if it's just a get your grip, okay, or if it's just, thumbs down. Yeah, it's going to be different at first, but if you're an arm wrestler, if you're a good arm wrestler, we all make the adjustment. That's it. We all make the adjustment. So for Hermes to sit there and bitch and moan and complain about that, it's just comical. Because if you're a good arm wrestler, and once Matt kind of sucked you in and got him in your world, you have to make the adjustment now. If you want to win, it doesn't matter. It could be a plain super match, best of 5 or best of 7. If you're good enough, you make the adjustment. Plain and simple.
If you watch Hermes, if you watch the way he arm wrestles, even in practice, and that's why it looks so one-sided against Matt, he gets a 1/4 inch outside of his lane and he basically gives up and folds. It's like he
in practice match, right?
As in real matches and in practice,
yeah,
he is pulled out of position just a little bit. It's like the power level goes down by 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because you got that window right here.
Got that little window. And if he's outside of it just a bit, it's down it goes.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Ryan, because here's what you guys are saying is so accurate. And what pisses me off is everybody makes these assumptions. They have no fucking clue about Matt Mask, and they, especially the Europeans, when they put so much value on that after table. That's exactly what I was talking about. That's just Matt when he's in practice. It's like a natural thing. He just goes through the motions. He gives everybody everything. He gets outside his comfort lane, and he likes to work out of bad positions. And then they use that video and they fucking promote it as, look at what happened, without knowing. I trained with Matt Mask for the last 4 years, twice a week. I know what he's like, and it's embarrassing that people put so much stock into that practice pool and then use that to kind of boost Hermes Gasparini. I think it's just an absolute pathetic way to be pathetic.
We got to just pause 1 sec. Joe Fox sent in a super chat, $6.99 Canadian, with no comment attached.
Thanks, Joey.
Perfect. And back to the Hermes thing. I mean, he's really painted himself into a corner here, because if Matt crushes him, there's nothing to be said after that. What does he do? Where does he go from here?
He goes away for a while. Hey, man, for some guys that promote themselves that much, when they lose something like that, a lot of the air is released out of the balloon, and he'll probably go live in a cave for a while and then resurface slowly. I've seen it happen so many times. I've seen it happen.
What's interesting is when I went to Matt's house, and I'm glad he's not showing this, because he doesn't want to give away. I have never seen an array of tools, and that one guy is used specifically to train for one guy. And I couldn't believe my eyes, and I'm just being completely honest. And I'm not saying this because Matt's a friend of mine, because if you would have asked me this 2 months ago, I would have given the edge to Hermes. I said, I think Matt's not going to win this match. From what I felt Matt when he was against, Nick Zena and those guys and how good he felt then. And this is just so far and superior. When Matt shows up in Turkey, this guy's going to be 260, 265. I think this is going to be a bad day for Hermes. And hey, if Hermes ends up winning, all that we can say is, well done, son.
Hey, if he wins, he deserves it.
Exactly.
I mean, and for all accounts, I think if Matt pulled Devin again, Matt would win. I think the reason why Matt lost because Devin got in his head. That's my honest opinion. Devin got in his head. I mean, honestly, who has a better record than, Matt's almost up there as far as WL records with the Super Series. He's only lost twice. I think he bit off more than he could chew with no, I'm sorry, he has 3 losses because he lost to Michael Tower, he lost to Todzilla. But with Jerry, it was just a little bit more than he can chew. That's a huge guy. So, and then with Todd, it was just like he just seemed so one-dimensional. With Todd's like, go ahead, take me over. I'm just gonna do this and knock you out. Where with Devin, you had 2 guys almost identical in height. It just seemed like Devin came out talking, got in his head. Matt got pissed off, which got him off his game, which is what Devin wanted, But if they were to have that match again, I think, it might be a different story. But Gasparini, it's like, fuck, dude. What's your claim to fame? When you pulled, Michael Todd, when Todd went to Italy, I think that time, and that's what's on YouTube. And, that was just a nasty match because Michael won, but his 3 victories all came on elbow fouls, I believe. And so that was just nothing you can hang your hat on. Then it's like, okay, now he's coming to WL, he's coming to the States, he's pulling Matt. First match, Hermes wins. I'm thinking, oh shit, here we go. And then, Matt figured it out because and I hate to repeat myself, like every good arm wrestler, you make the adjustment.
Sometimes it looks like you're trying to, or you're not making the adjustment though. And I can tell you this absolutely 100% truthfully.
Right.
You're attempting to make an adjustment, but the lane that you're trying to get around is so powerful that it just looks like you're doing the same thing over and over again.
Are you talking about your match with Jerry?
That's a good example of it. But the other one is with Hermes and Matt. Hermes may have been trying to make adjustments in that match with Matt and just not able to.
Yeah, you're right. I think Matt found a style to take away Hermes' strong point in that entire match, and that's exactly what he's working on right now.
Yeah.
Well, normally, and I don't know, and you guys could probably respond to this better than I can. I've been in many, many super matches, and when I got a guy in his move, I'm going to probably stick with that move until he changes.
Yeah. And
when he changes, now it's my turn to not get caught up in his move now. And then, like I said, it's a chess game, a cat and mouse game. I always think of it as baseball, if you can believe that. So, and maybe you understand my theory with super matches. You're a pitcher. If I give you my fastball, it's either going to be a strikeout, which is a pin, or it's going to be a home run, which I lose, or it's a foul ball, we end up slipping. Okay. If I give you my, fastball and you hit it, okay, I got to come up with something different now. I got to come up with a curveball, or a breaking ball because I gave him my best shot and he fucking pinned it. So now I got to, come up with something different. I'm not going to keep doing the same thing, as Devin would say, same thing, only harder. I'm not going to go by that because if they see it coming, they're going to stop it. So why give him that same thing? Come up with something different. Throw him off his game. Oh, well, I didn't see that coming. And now it's a thinking man's game. And that's where the chess match actually comes from, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. But it's hard to be diverse too in the sport.
Yeah.
That's why John Brzenk is such an amazing legend, is because he can do everything.
And we all strive to be that way. Some way, somehow. I want to be able to put somebody hook where it's like, oh, the top rope's not working. Fine. I'll just slip out, go into the strap, whatever. And he does it like, there's times John does that. It's like he doesn't it's like he does it with no effort.
Yeah.
Like it kills me,
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that covers our matches. Unless you guys know of some other ones that I don't know about, Jeff probably wants to talk about the one at the carnival happening and we've never heard of.
Oh, hey, listen, man. Why do you say that? It's exactly to Jody's point. It's like, okay, if we're just gonna have content about the same three guys, and like Jody said, we might as well have WL, just might as well have Michael and Devin every time because that's all we care about. And don't give me this B-list shit because there's so many A-list pullers that 90% of the arm wrestlers don't even know who they are. That's unfortunate.
Well, I made a comment before I went live. What I'm trying to do is morph into and getting some of the ladies involved. You know,
Awesome,
give them
man.
some in the limelight. There's a tournament coming up where first place ladies are getting each class are getting $500. You know, $250 for second, $100 for first, and it's like going. It's time for some of the ladies to get on board, and I pray to God if the borders open up there, you're going to see people like Christine Flicka and Maria Peterson come down. And when I had the Arm Talk, Ladies Week for 2 weeks, I had them on. I had Maria, and she was, she made it very clear she's not happy with the borders and the prime minister and all that kind of stuff because she wants to come down and test herself, and I get that. And I think because everyone's talking about Michael and Devin, which they should, but how much more can you talk about it? Because Michael's putting out content like every 45 minutes, and
it's true.
It's like we need to put some more spotlight on somebody else and give them a chance at the spotlight. So I decided, I'm not like stepping away from the guys, but just kind of being more helping out with the ladies. Get them some love on the stage. I've been kind of doing that. I've been having success, so it's going to be awesome to have. So.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was trying to say. It's just, you look at somebody like Christine Flicka and Maria Peterson, like who knows who they are, and that's awesome, Jody. I'm good. Yeah, and that's awesome. That's exactly what my point was to have these guests come on. Let's promote these people a little bit more because these are A-list female pullers that don't get a lot of spotlight and should be talking. I mean, these are both Canadian national champion pullers, and they're phenomenal. And it'd be when these borders open up and we can get these people pulling Americans and promote this more. It's only beneficial to the sport. And hopefully, as us as talk show hosts and promoters, that we do our part in promoting these people to gain interest. If they're not willing to do it themselves, Greg Gray and Matt Craig, I mean, they're great self-promoters, but not everybody has that ability, right? Or even wants to be.
When is that match happening?
So
this
May
Saturday.
1st.
That's tomorrow.
Saturday, yeah.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And I tell you, I've had both guys on my show before. When Greg Gray won the Arnold in 2019, he was my roommate. Okay. When I was in Waxahachie, I kind of, met Matt Craig for the first time in person, and he kind of gave me his side of the story, and I hope it doesn't get into a fight. I think if it does, it's going to set us back a while because
at least I hope if they do fight, it's after they settle it on the arm wrestling table.
They can't fight. They can't. We cannot do that in our sport. It just completely takes away from what we're trying to do. If it's going to turn into a bar thing, we're not. Let them talk trash talk. I'm going to message those guys both actually, and I just want to because I think Jody's right. I think it has the potential. We do. I mean, why would we want to see that?
Nobody's going to fight. They're going to somebody.
I truly believe this has the potential to do that.
There's a potential. It has more potential than the Gary Roberts Barry Bourne fight. I'll tell you that. I was there for that shit, and again, I'm always stuck with being a roommate of somebody, some shit. So here's Gary in our hotel room. He has boxing gloves in his suitcase. I'm like, are you fucking? We're really going? And he showed me the text message that Barry sent to him. So 1 minute Barry's like, yeah, let's do it. Next minute he's like, no. It seemed like when the camera's on, Barry's like, no, I don't want to. Where off camera, he's like, yeah, let's do this. And so it was that whole thing was just weird. I'm like going, dude, let's just keep it to where that Barry Bourne Dave Morocco match should have never happened.
Totally agree.
If you're going to do something like that, do it separately. Don't do it as a conjunction with an arm wrestling tournament.
100%.
That's where you're messing up at. And I'm hoping with this Greg Gray thing tomorrow, it's like, guys, and they've been on back and forth. Guys, if this comes to be a fight, then all that time we all work to get us up there, it's just going to be gone like that.
Tell me something, Jody. Why do they hate each other?
Yeah, I don't know where that stems from.
Because I have no idea. It
was some personal stuff. Both the guys are from Texas. they pulled before, and I think depending on who you talk to, they've beaten one another. But some steroids was brought into their fold and stuff. And
it's really personal. It's really personal.
Matt Craig's like, I only take steroids because Greg gave them to me. That kind of stuff. And then there's a lot of people who are upset or like butthurt. I mean, honestly, here's my thing. Anytime you go to the Arnold and win, SB, you know about this. When you go to the Arnold and win, it's nothing they can take away from. You've won it. You got a lifetime entry fee from here on out. Okay.
Matt's trying to take that away from.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Greg.
Luke Kent's like, yeah, he won, but there was nobody there. I'm thinking, guys, again, how I feel about that. You go to a tournament, you can't control who does and does not show up. Okay. So
right.
All you got to do is show up and then win. You've done your job. You know. Now, yeah, he beat Bill Logsdon. He won. He earned it. You know. And everyone's kind of crapping on that, but I think sometimes people can kind of see the arrogance because, you know, Greg Gray is that same guy will be like, well, if you're going to pull, I need a sponsor. I'm not putting my own money up. Like, he's up there now. Like, okay, dude, a lot of people are like, hey, I'll put up $500. Where Greg Gray is like, I'm going to find a sponsor to put up $500. I don't need you. I'm not going to. And it's like, fuck, dude. You know, so it's kind of like that, but yet he wants to go to like a Nemiroff Zadi. Well, who's going to sponsor that shit? Because you got to come up with your own money to go there, I would imagine. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but you know, it's like Matt Craig's the common guy, a lot of shit talking, but he's the common guy. Where Greg Gray's kind of like, hey, I'm up here now because I've won this event, so I should be treated as such. That's my own honest opinion about the two. And they go back and forth. I'm thinking, all right, you guys are both from Texas. Greg Gray's like, I'm too good for the Texas Arm Wrestling League because when I was down there, it's a whole different world. Like the Texas Arm Wrestling League is a league of its own. Like it's like something separate from everybody else of the 49 states in the U.S. So, you know, the rankings are out. Matt Craig's like, he doesn't deserve to be there. He doesn't pull anybody because Greg's like, there's nobody in Texas for me to pull because I don't need to. I want to do bigger and better things. And that kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when that comment came out. So.
Okay. Well, are they going to live stream that thing?
Oh, I'm sure it is. And there is some talk about who's going to weigh in first. I'm like, are we really arguing about who's going to weigh in first? Like, just be done. Have the match. I mean, it's like this. Have your match. And when it's all said and done, go your separate ways.
I'll say this first. Have your match, shake hands, have that mutual competitor-athlete respect, then go your separate ways.
Yeah. Go your separate ways. Same thing. Devin, Michael Todd, have the third trilogy, Act 3, go your separate ways. Because honestly, at this point, maybe it's because so much is on this because what happens to the loser? I think people want to know who loses this match, what happens to him. They're going to really focus on the person that lost and go, what's he going to do now?
That's true.
You know, if Devin loses, is Devin going to kind of just, you know, hang out for a while, not do anything, not be on social media?
Oh, of course, no.
If Michael loses, he's going to like go irate.
I think Michael Todd going irate over is far more likely than Devin.
Devin has set himself up to take the loss gracefully.
Exactly. Good point, Ryan. He has.
Yeah.
He took it in stride when he pulls Saplinkoff, and it's not that Devin lost to Saplinkoff, it's how he lost. And it was like, hey, you know, when that little interview we had with Igor, I lost here, and you know, phenomenal guy. He's fine with it. Devin is okay with losing. Michael's not.
Yeah.
Guys, I have to take off here. I got a doctor's appointment here.
Well, we're over the hour mark, gents, so it's time to probably wrap her up anyway. Jody, thanks for coming on. It was a nice surprise to have you on with us today.
So next week we'll talk about who I think can beat Michael Todd.
Oh
no, I gotta go because I can't elaborate.
Oh,
you're gonna leave us with that cliffhanger?
Next week.
All right.
Jody, you're welcome to come on and join us again.
Yeah, if you guys are going to be on the same time next week, I don't work on Thursday, so, you know, hey.
It may work out that way.
And by that time, we'll touch base on the Matt Craig, Great Gray, and
Exactly. There'll be lots to talk about. We'll start the show. I'll tell you my thoughts and why, and I can get ripped apart all over the internet, and I can't wait for it.
sure.
I really hope they just have an arm wrestling match tomorrow and move on.
I want to know what Dave Chafee's up to these days. But yeah, we could talk all about that next time.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Jody. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. It was a great show.